Hi everybody, I'm Paddy Hunter-Murphy, and this is the Senior Pickleball Tips Podcast, where we discuss everything pickleball as it relates to us seniors. Well, hello everyone. How fantastic to see you again here at the Senior Pickleball Tips Podcast. And I have with me a very, very special guest, Tony Schneider. He's the president of US Senior Pickleball, and he's been on board for about a year and a half. Before I ask him the usual question, I just want to ask him a question. Those of you watching this on video, do you like my mug, Tony?
Yes, there's probably, the good news is, Paddy, none of my tears are in your mug yet, but I hope someday there'll be a few in there.
Those who are listening on audio and not watching the video, do you want to read out what my mug says?
Yes, Paddy says, this mug is tears of my pickleball opponents. So every time he takes a sip, he has a big smile on his face. So definitely something to look forward to.
I assure you, it's just tea in it. I assure you. Right, Tony. We always start with this question on this podcast. What's your personal pickleball story? How on earth did you get into pickleball, and what led up to that?
Yeah, thanks, Paddy. I think that's a really simple story. For those of you that can't see me, I am not an athlete by any stance. In fact, as much as I'm an athlete, I buy like Nike shirts. That's about the extent of my athleticism. I grew up working on a farm. I played in a rock and roll band. I was a paratrooper in the United States Army. And I retired with a career 40 years in the aviation industry. So again, overweight, not exercising. In fact, if you ever seen those M&M candy commercials, I look like one of the M&M guys when I retired. And so was it on a family vacation in Myrtle Beach, which is a wonderful retirement town. Unless you look like an M&M guy, that's probably not a good place to be walking on the beach. But
yeah.
My family invited me to go play pickleball, and I was like, pickle what? And I'm thinking, we're going to have smash burgers and pickles, and this is an eating contest. And so they take me out on the court, and within about 20 minutes, I am having the time of my life. I have realized I could be an athlete. I have potential here, and now 6 years later, I'm still trying to learn how to really play the game, and every day seems to be another learning opportunity. And so that's really my story, Paddy. It's pretty short. Lost 20 pounds. I feel better. I've got new friends, and just living the time of my life.
That's absolutely fantastic. So just to declare me, I used to have a duper of 3.6, and then I went into a sort of day competition. I didn't play very well, and it went right down to about 3.2 or something. Do you have a duper rating, Tony?
I do. It's funny, last year when I kind of got involved with US Senior Pickleball, I was at a 288. I think that's probably the lowest recorded duper score in history. And I had some challenges in some of the first tournaments I played. I kept getting, I'd sign up for singles and end up with a 17-year-old kid across the net from me. And so then I started playing US Senior Pickleball tournaments, which are predominantly 50 and above, and we do 5-year increments, and did a lot of practicing. And so I am bouncing right at the 4.0. I think looked the other day, it was like 398. To me, I tell everyone pickleball is not a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy to start and difficult to master, which I think is a real challenge for a lot of us. And we like a challenge. I like a challenge. Yeah, Fantastic. Oh, Tony, that's absolutely brilliant. Now, listen, you're at US Senior Pickleball. You arrived as president a year and a half ago. How was that? What changes do you bring in? What does USSP do? As far as I know, it's a wonderful organization, but do tell us.
So again, knew very little about USSP when I actually got selected as the president, which was a kind of ironic. My strength is around vision and strategy. That was kind of my things that are in my top 5 strengths. And so got a call out of the blue. my pickleball partner and I had won a tournament that we met somebody at, and they asked me some questions around, what do you know about U.S. Senior Pickleball? What would you see as a vision? And I said, well, I don't really know that much about them. I'm not really interested. All I want to do is play. If this is going to interfere with my play, I don't want any part, of the leadership of it.
Yeah.
And so they suggested, I just go and take a look. And so I took a look. I think at the time, U.S. Senior Pickleball just rolled up on 10,000 members. And we were heavily focused on tournaments, a lot of activity and things on tournaments. And so I offered maybe an alternative and said, hey, look, there's a whole group of people that are not interested in playing tournaments. Should we build that part of the organization? And then the other thing was, you've got a whole bunch of people that probably aren't near, we call them grassroots efforts, which are these non-tournament activities like recreational play or open play. And you're not a tournament player, so you're not playing tournaments. What value can U.S. Senior Pickleball bring to them? And so we created what we call is a membership portfolio. What's in the portfolio? Information. So we're trying to do better. And Paddy, that's why I love what you're doing, is you're doing a great job of disseminating senior information. So we don't need to do what you do. All we need to do is point people to what you're doing and say, hey, we recommend, if you're looking for this type of information, here's a great place to get that. And we're just starting to get it moving. In fact, at this point, we're kind of what I would call in the crawl stage. There's a whole bunch of information around seniors and how to live longer and live a more quality life. And so I think that's applicable to every senior. And so we're working on providing that information to our membership and to all seniors. And then we've partnered with Humana, who is a wonderful partner, in that they have a lot of information for seniors. So it's the idea of, can we offer our members some kind of value and bring information, bring opportunities to go play, and then for those that want to be competitive, a very competitive environment. And so our focus is on seniors. Our goal is to help seniors have fun, build new friendships, and then get in some fitness on the side.
Well, that's tremendous. I mean, we often talk on this podcast about the benefits of pickleball, and I'm sure the listeners hear it all the time, but it's worth repeating a little bit in regard to it's physical, it's psychological, it's social. I mean, there's studies out there that say racket sports, and I think pickleball is up there amongst the racket sports, and how racket sports help older people, because it's not just exercise. You're building up for a particular shot and you're thinking, should I put it there? Shall I put it there? So your mind is working all the time in sync with your body. And that seems to be the reason why there was some academic that was saying that, racket sports can prolong your life by 10 years. Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm. I have. In fact, we're working with a couple of different organizations. One of them is 150 Plus Health, and they talk about, if you can just get about 30 minutes of exercise at least 5 days a week, you can extend your life 7 to 10 years. And Paddy, those are quality years. It's not being hooked up to a tube and being fed and you're on your back and you got bed sores. This is going out and literally living the dream by being active. And not only can you be active in pickleball, then you're active in your community, you're active, with your family. And so it really opens the door.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so important. It goes way beyond just hitting a small plastic wiffle ball, doesn't it? It really does.
But there's something therapeutic about that. You have a bad day and you whack that little yellow ball. I'm telling you, I feel better after I do that. It might be out of bounds, but I will tell you, I just see that as a very therapeutic. It saves me money on getting a therapist. That's all I got to say.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Quick message. We've just launched something completely free for senior pickleball players. As many of you know, my brother Terry and I run the Senior Pickleball Tips Facebook group, now with over 140,000 members from 63 countries. I know, it's crazy. And we are in the process of building the new Senior Pickleball Academy. Inside, you'll learn in different ways. You can watch coaching videos, listen to podcasts, try the drills, and join live group webinars. We're also creating 4 levels: new beginners, advanced beginners, low intermediates, and high intermediates, each with its own content so you can improve step by step. But we want you to join early and tell us what you want that will help you on your senior pickleball journey. And the best part, it's free to join. Just click the link in the show notes and let's build the world's best senior pickleball community together. Okay, now let's get back to the podcast. So just to get back to US Senior Pickleball, as I understand it, you were talking a little bit earlier about bringing in sort of the people who don't really do tournaments, don't really do competitive play, which is, I absolutely and completely agree with you. But also you do have tournaments and you do have competitive play. And as I understand it, it's something to do about a golden ticket or something. What happens when you get a golden ticket?
That's kind of under USA Pickleball. We have kind of 4 different areas of tournaments. The first area is local tournaments. So if you're a local tournament director and you would like help advertising and bringing seniors to the tournament, we offer that service, right? So if you say, hey, Paddy, I'm running a tournament in, just pick a city, would you help me advertise it to seniors and increase the numbers of senior players and things like that? We do that. What we ask back is that you give our senior members $10 off your tournament. So you pay $20 for registration to become a US Senior Pickleball. If you play 3 tournaments, you made $10.
Wow.
Right? Cost you 20, you got 30 back. So, and we do about 80 local tournaments a year we sponsor across the whole United States, right? So we've done that. In fact, we did one recently in Mexico. We're getting ready to do one in Tahiti. And so we are branching out internationally. And if you want to play in our Tahiti tournament, which is a local tournament that's USSP certified, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, you save $10. You save $10 on the registration. When I say USSP certified, that means that they are going to operate by our guidelines. And our guidelines really are senior friendly. So it says, hey, you're not going to combine up the tournament with 50-year-old and 17-year-olds. There'll be, when you advertise a tournament, you'll do 5-year brackets starting at 50, going all the way up to 85 plus. And then if brackets have to be combined because there's not enough players, what we request they do is they combine age first. So you might have 50, 55, and 60 players in the 3-0, 3-5 playing together. So the idea is not to combine with younger players unless they absolutely have to do that. So again, we do about 80 of those a year. This year, we're also doing another set of tournaments called regional tournaments. There'll be 10 of those, 1 or 2 tournaments in each of our regions. And again, that can be non-USSP members and USSP members. Those tournaments we're actually running, and everybody playing in that tournament is 50 and above.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, in fact, this year is the first year we added a 80 to 85 bracket. So we're starting to see enough 80-year-old players to be able to do that. So that's exciting. And this is hot off the press yesterday, we're going to add a senior wheelchair division to our pickleball regional and zone championship tournaments. Again, there's a need for it, that we've had a request for it. And so I'm very excited to say we're implementing that and going to try that out. Our first one, I think, will be in Raleigh coming up in a couple of months, and we'll see how that goes. And then we have what are called zone championships. We have 6 zones. For the zone championships, you have to be a USSP member to play in those. And again, 5-year increments. We end up with a little more players there, USSP players. You can join USSP and play in those tournaments. You instantly save $10 on the registration, so that's a nice feature. And then finally, we have a national championship. Last year, it was in Pictona, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida. This year, it's in Casa Grande, Arizona, which is just south of Phoenix, Arizona. So it'll be an incredible event. We're anticipating at least 1,000 players there and all seniors, and it should be a lot of fun.
Wow, you've done an amazing description of that, Tony. I mean, US Senior Pickleball really is, I think, an incredible organization. I mean, any seniors in the United States, you're lucky. So get involved, people. In the show notes, there'll be a direct link on how to join US Senior Pickleball. So just go ahead and do it, and you'll probably get your money back if you play a tournament or two anyway. So that is tremendous, and it just gets us old folk off our sofas and onto the courts, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Okay, so that's US. Do you have any plans to go beyond the US? You mentioned Mexico. Are there any other plans? I mean, obviously, Senior Pickleball Tips is very much a global group. I am very proud that we have 138,000 members from 64 different countries, which is crazy. So are you looking at all about expanding maybe some of your ideology and some of your ideas beyond the USA?
We are. In fact, US Senior Pickleball is part of our parent organization is the Super Senior International Pickleball Association. And so we're hoping that will grow. I think there's a lot of interest in seeing pickleball in the Olympics. And I think there's a great opportunity for seniors to lead in that area. We just need pickleball to be popular in a few more countries, and I think we can pull that off. And so we've been doing some of that outreach. In fact, last year, Paddy, I was in Prague with a group of folks, introducing pickleball into an area in Prague. And so we're very interested in spreading the word about pickleball and encouraging people to play. In some places, they may not be able to afford the equipment initially to start, so we're trying to help provide that or work with sponsors that can provide that. For me, I think the key is if we can help seniors around the world live a little bit longer, why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is recognized around the world. I mean, the places I know, like Malaysia and Singapore, there is government funding for pickleball amongst seniors, amongst their senior communities, because they recognize the benefits of it. It is now, rightly so, becoming a recognized aspect, isn't it, of the sport, that it helps seniors so greatly. So let's just get on down and get on with it. So that's absolutely tremendous. So Tony, you've got 14,000 members now. Is maybe even a little more than that, which is absolutely incredible. And as I mentioned before, please, everyone, if you are based in US, do join. Absolutely. I think it's a wonderful organization and you'll get a lot of benefit out of it. Now, Tony, I understand you are a pretty solid 3.5 player, but you could never really improve. And then something happened. Do you want to talk us through that?
Sure, Paddy. It was probably around last Christmas, right before the holiday. We were having our U.S. Senior Pickleball National Championships down in Daytona Beach. We had hired a coach, Dane Gingrich, who's a senior pro, and Jill Martin, the pickleball yogi. They wrote a book called The Pickleball Mindset. And so Dane's out on the court, and he says, hey, I need a volunteer that's not very good at third shot drops to come out and work with me. And so my team kind of had set me up because I was terrible at third shot drops, right? I mean, I drove every third, ball, and I was driving them crazy. So they get me out there. There's like 200 people in the crowd. Dane pushes a basket over next to me, and I'm about 3 feet away, and he starts throwing me balls. And I'm hitting him to the left. I'm hitting him to the right. I'm hitting him at him. He's ducking, And I said, Dane, what am I doing wrong? And he says, well, you're not hitting them in the basket. And I was like, are we paying you for this? I mean, is that the best advice you can give me? He says, just see it going in the basket and it'll go in the basket. And so, after a few minutes, I'm hitting balls now. And he's only about 3 feet away. I'm hitting the balls in the basket. So then he starts moving the balls around the court, right? So he's moving this basket of balls around the court. He's throwing balls at me, and he says, hit him in the basket. Of course, initially I'm shanking them in the audience. I'm shanking them, over him. But after about 2 or 3 minutes, the balls are going in the basket. And so, maybe 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10, doing pretty good. He moves the basket around to the other side of the court, right? So now he pushes it up against the net, and he says, I want you to drop the balls in the basket, right? So,
wow.
So you've got to kind of loop them over and get them in. And again, shanking all over the place. But after a minute or two, I'm starting to get balls in the basket. I probably got about, 7 out of 10. So then he says at the end of all this, he says, you're doing really good. He says, I'll tell you what. I'll pay you $1,500 if you can bounce a ball on the net cord. And I'm like, there is no way. But, I said, okay, let's try. So he throws me this ball. I hit the ball, and it lands literally on the net cord. The crowd goes crazy. I go, Dane, I can't believe you're going to give me $1,500. And he goes, I'm not. Go see Jill Martin. I don't got the money. It was a great time, a great event. I always tease him about that. In fact, now what's funny is I'll bounce a ball on the net cord or hit the net cord, and I'll go, damn you, Dane Gingrich, because that was a win for him, right? He taught me how to do that, and just a great time.
But what it did is that then your level kind of raised beyond 3.5. That was the sort of game changer for you, was it?
Yeah, what Dane has taught me is visualization, right? If you can visualize the shot in your mind, your body can figure out how to do it. And so we just went around the court and practiced. If I could see it going in, 7 out of 10 is pretty good. In American baseball, you're in the major leagues, if you're hitting that high. And so it was a major improvement for me.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. Let me ask you another question, just sort of from left field. One thing that I'm finding with the Senior Pickleball Tips is over the last just 6 months, 9 months or so, there's been a little bit more difficulties in rec play. There's been a little bit more people getting a bit too competitive, men mansplaining to women about how to do things without being asked. Whether it's just that people are talking about it more and it's always been there, or whether it has sort of increased in the last 9 months or so, I'm not sure. I just got to sort of ask you your take on that.
Yeah, I think, Paddy, it's evolving, right? The game is evolving and constantly changing. I think from my perspective, when I first started, everybody said, you need to dink. You gotta learn how to dink, and then you need to learn how to drop so you can get into dinking. And then I would go and play a recreational game, and we would never dink. I mean, we always warm up dinking, but we never dink in the game. And so, I've been married for 38 years, so my wife is my doubles partner, which is great therapy, by the way, if you want to work. So I'm trying to help her, right? I said, hey, you're supposed to drop the ball. And she looks at me and she goes, I'm going to drop the ball, all right, and you're not going to be very happy about where I drop it, so you need to take it down a few notches. And it was an aha moment for me, right? I think the key is people don't want help, right? If they want help, they'll ask for it, right? And everything you want to know about pickleball is on the internet in some form or fashion. They just want to go out there and have a good time. In fact, this is a funny story. I was playing in a tournament in North Carolina, playing with, it was co-ed. And so what they did is you had to play with everybody in your bracket. So your partner kept changing. And then what they did is they kept track of how many points you scored during your game. And then whoever had the most points at the end of the tournament won, right? And so I'm just trying to play hard. I'm just trying to, not disappoint my player. And I realized, that there were some people that were better than me and there were some people worse than me. But I figured out that if I wanted to win this tournament, those people that didn't play as well as I did, I had to lift them up. Telling them what they did wrong wasn't helpful. But if I said, man, Paddy, that was a really good shot. When we get done with this, I need you to show me how to do that. Or,
Yeah.
hey, just keep swinging. That was exactly the right place you needed to place the ball. And so if you're a partner and you can lift people up and make them play better than their skills are, you can do something. But I will tell you, Paddy, if you come to me and say, Schneider, your dink is terrible. You need to stop dinking, right? Or, hey, you need to speed all these balls up. You keep hitting them into the net. I'm thinking about missing, and I'm thinking about, if you say, hey, that was a really good idea, you'll get it next time. You're lifting me up. And so to me, there's a gap. There's a gap, I think, in pickleball training. And that is, how do you be a good partner?
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more. Absolutely and completely. And these round robin competitions where you swap partners, they're quite popular here. I really like them because you get to meet people and you play with different people. And as long as you, as you say, nice and bubbly and encouraging, and you play with men and women, it's great. I love it. And it doesn't really matter who wins or loses, but it's just great fun. And if you come out well on top, then it's a bonus. You go home with a slightly larger smile on your face than you would normally.
Yeah. I tell folks I'm not making a living playing pickleball or trying to qualify for the Olympics. I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very good. You mentioned about it would be quite good to be looking at partner communications in pickleball. That's something that a lot of people don't look at. And we were discussing before we came on to the camera just now that that at Senior Pickleball Tips, we're actually expanding our remit. And we are just starting the Senior Pickleball Academy, which basically, I suppose a simple way of explaining it is it's the same as the Facebook group, but also you're going to have courses, you're going to have videos, all the podcasts are going to be on there. You can search them. So if you have any problems with your lob, you can search for the lob, listen to the podcast, watch the video, what have you. There's going to be a whole series of systematic aspects of pickleball there, the 10 essential shots, how to hit and earn, etc., etc., etc. And we are just starting that, just building that up. And we're looking for people to come on board to help me and my brother Terry in terms of, what do seniors want? What actually do you want? And it's just in its infancy now. So I think that's pretty exciting. And maybe Senior Pickleball Academy and US Senior Pickleball, we can get together and do some stuff together.
I think that's a great idea, Paddy. Love the idea of helping seniors play. There's a ton of information on the internet about pickleball, but I am not 19 years old, and some of the things that they're doing, my body doesn't twist like that anymore. In fact, if it does, I'm normally having to go to urgent care or, get some kind of medical treatment. I think for me, to be able to organize that in a place, and I love your Facebook site. It has actually has years of information if you were having to go manually search for it. And to organize that into your academy, I think is going to be very well received. I think the biggest challenge for seniors is, where do you go to look for information about senior pickleball? And kudos to you and your brother for the Facebook page, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with the academy. And I definitely would love to be a partner with Senior Pickleball Tips and move that forward.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Well, let's do it and let's talk further about that, Tony. That'd be absolutely brilliant. So listen, I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for explaining US Senior Pickleball so well and what it does and the benefits to seniors, especially in the US and also in some bits around the world too. So thank you so much for your time. I know that you're a very busy guy, and I know that time is very important to you. So thank you very much for coming on board. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and love to have you on here again, maybe in about a year or so, and then we can tell everyone about, well, maybe in 6 months or so, and we can tell everyone about the wonderful partnership between us. How's that?
Love to do that, Paddy, and invite you to come to the States. You always got a place to stay over here, and so come on, and I can add to the tears in your coffee cup.
Very, very good. I don't think that'll be the case. I think you're going to be a bit better than me, but let's see. And if we play singles, I understand they're narrowing the singles court, so I may have a bit more of a chance against you.
Yeah, I think for me, Paddy, they can't narrow it enough. I have played singles before. It is definitely a good workout.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Okay, my friend Tony, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure. And listen, we will see you again soon.
My pleasure. Thanks, Paddy.
I'm sure you don't want to miss any of these absolutely super duper Senior Pickleball Tips podcast episodes. So please find us on Spotify, iTunes and Amazon, or you can just ask Alexa. And also remember, we've got the Senior Pickleball Tips Facebook group. We've got these podcasts already mentioned, but also we are starting the Senior Pickleball Academy on the school platform. So find us there. Okay, bye for now.